Hi, hello students, welcome to Indian Tech Guru for you. So in this video, let us start with the second unit, first chapter. The second unit, first chapter is basic computer organization and design. Basic computer organization and design. So in this chapter, we will be discussing how actually a computer works, how we are going to represent different types of instructions, how we are going to represent the data, how we are going to fetch the data. All these details we are going to discuss in this particular chapter. So for any computer, there will be memory. Okay. So generally we say it has main memory. For any computer, there will be main memory, or we say RAM. So this main memory or RAM is the base for the computer system, because this main memory consists of different types of components. So what are the different types of components? It contains data. In addition to data, it contains the instructions also. Okay. So for example, I have written a C program. So any program is nothing but a set of instructions. So these set of instructions will be stored somewhere in the main memory. So however, in the previous lesson, we have discussed that all the data will be represented in binary code, because the computer understands the binary code. The entire data in computer system, let it be numbers, let it be characters, let it be words, all of them are represented in binary representation. So now we need instructions also. Okay. So whatever the program we are going to write in high level language code, so that must also be stored in main memory, and those particular instructions must be understood by the CPU processor. So to understand these instructions, the instructions must also be in binary format. That is very, very important. The instructions must also be in binary code. Okay. So that is why, based on this logic, we need to define an instruction code. So now, in addition to data, now some part of the main memory, so will contain, in addition to data, it contains the instructions also. Okay. So this particular part may contain the instructions, and another part of the main memory may contain the actual data. For example, this particular part may contain data. So now what is our conclusion? Our conclusion is, in main memory, it contains not only data, it also contains instructions also. So the data will be in binary format, that we already know. Now in addition to data, the instructions will also be in binary code. So that particular binary code is called as instruction code. How could we define an instruction code? An instruction code is a group of bits that instructs the computer, that instructs the computer to perform a specific operation, to perform a specific operation. Okay, the instruction code is going to tell the computer to perform a specific operation based on a group of bits, based on a group of bits. For example, assume that in a particular computer system there are 16 instructions, totally 16 basic instructions. So then how many bits we need to represent these 16 basic instructions? So 16 means 2 power 4. So we need 4 bits to represent these instructions. Okay. So 0000 will represent one instruction. 0001 is going to represent one instruction. So like that it is going to represent. So the code that is actually representing a particular instruction is called an operation code. It is called as an operation code. So in short, we sometimes say opcode, opcode. So what is meant by an operation code or opcode? It is also a group of bits. Opcode is part of the instruction code. Okay. So inside of the instruction code, there will be operation code as well as some other information. What is the some other information? We will be seeing later. So however, the operation code is very important, because based on the operation code, it is going to determine which operation must be performed. So how could we define operation code? The operation code, the opcode of an instruction is a group of bits, that define a specific operation, So for example, if there are 16 different operations, so how many bits must be reserved for opcode? 4 bits. And in a different computer, assume that there are 32 different operations. Then how many bits we need? We need 5 bits for opcode. In some other computer, assume there are 64 operations. Then we need a 6-bit code. Okay. For opcode, we need 6 bits. So like this, we can define an operation code. So 0000 may define a particular operation. 0001 may define a particular operation, and 1111 may define another operation. So like this, different operations. What are the different operations? Already we discussed in the previous chapter. So add operation, subtract operation, shift operation, shift right operation, logical AND operation. So the operation may be either arithmetic operation or logical operation or shift operation. Okay. So to perform any of these operations, what is the requirement? The instruction code must be stored in main memory. The instruction code must be stored in main memory. What is meant by instruction? An instruction, a group of instructions is going to represent a program. A group of instructions is going to represent a program. Okay. So with this, we can define the stored program concept. Stored program. What is meant by a stored program? So whenever we want to execute a particular program, the program must be stored in somewhere. Okay. So what is meant by program? A program is nothing but a set of instructions. So these instructions must be stored somewhere in the memory. Then only we could perform any operations based on the instructions. Okay. So if you write a C program of 20 lines, so these 20 lines must be converted into basic instructions that are understood by the computer system. So I have written a C program. With 20 lines of code. So these 20 lines may be converted into 65 instructions. 65 instructions which are understood by the specific computer system. Okay. So already we have seen how we have converted a single line of code. What is a single line of code? C is equal to A plus B into 4 instructions. Okay, we have seen how we have converted. So these 4 instructions are generally we considered as register transfer instructions. Okay, register level instructions. So like this, whatever the program, C program with 20 lines of code may be converted into 65 different instructions. And these 65 instructions must be stored somewhere in memory. Okay, stored somewhere in memory. So what concept we learned now? We learned that in addition to data, till now what we were thinking was the particular main memory contains only data, but now we learned that in addition to data, the main memory will also contain the instructions, because without instructions, what can we do with data? So based on the instructions, we need to work on with the data. So that is why we need the concept of a stored program. Okay. Now we can bifurcate the main memory. We can bifurcate the main memory into 2 parts. Okay. So if assume this is the main memory. If you assume this is the main memory, then now we can divide the main memory into 2 parts. What are those 2 parts? It contains the instructions. So what are instructions? Programs actually contains instructions, and in addition to that it contains data. So data sometimes data is also called as operands. So instructions sometimes called as operations. Okay. So now the memory or main memory is bifurcated into 2 parts. So it contains the instructions which are actually part of a particular program. In addition to that, it contains the data also. Okay. Now assume a specific computer which is going to support only 8 operation codes. Only 8 operation codes it has defined, like addition, subtraction, and logical AND, logical OR, shift operations, something like that. Then how many bits are needed for the operation code? So 8 means 2 cube. So how many bits we need for opcode? We need only 3 bits for opcode. Okay. So now how an instruction format will look like. So let us see how an instruction format will look like. So for example, assume that the instruction code format for the entire instruction is going to contain 16 bits. Among these 16 bits, how many bits are needed for opcode? 3 bits are needed for opcode. So how many bits are left? So there are 13 bits left. Okay. So total instruction requires 16 bits, and because this particular computer represents only 8 operation codes, for opcode we need 3 bits. What are the remaining bits? We need 13 bits. Among these 13 bits, we may have 12 bits to represent the address of the operand. Okay. So 12 bits may represent the address of the operand. Okay. So what about the remaining 1 bit? This remaining 1 bit is very important. So because based on this remaining 1 bit, we are going to determine whether we are giving a direct address or we are giving an indirect address. So this particular single bit is actually designated with an I. Okay, this single bit is actually represented with an I. Here I represents the indirect address mode. The indirect address mode. What is the significance of this indirect address mode is, sometimes what happens is, whenever we are going to specify the address of the operand, that particular address may contain another address, and the data may be residing in another address. Okay, so then we are going to say it is an indirect address. Okay, so basically there are 3 different categories of addresses. First one is immediate address, immediate operand. Immediate operand means, so let us say the entire structure, whatever we discussed till now. So how many bits are given for the address of the operand? 12 bits. So 0 to 11. So 12 bits we have given for what? We have given for the address. And as there are 8 different codes, 3 bits we are going to give for the opcode, operation code. 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay. So from 12 to 14. 0 to 11 we have given for address. 12 to 14 we have given for opcode, and 1 single bit is for I. Okay. I represents indirect address mode. So there are 3 categories of things we can place from 0 to 11 among these 12 bits. The first category is immediate operand. Immediate operand means these 12 bits will contain the operand itself. Okay. So what does it mean? We are not going to fetch the data from the main memory. Already the data will be inside of the instruction itself. Already the data will be inside of the instruction itself. Okay. So what does it mean? Whatever the 12 bits we have assigned, these 12 bits sometimes may contain the data itself. Sometimes it may contain the address, sometimes it may contain the data. If it contains the data, then we say that we have immediate operand. Immediate operand means the data itself is embedded within the instruction. So what is the advantage then? We need not to fetch the data from the main memory. Directly the data is available inside of the instruction. We can directly work with the data. Okay. So that is called as immediate operand. The second one is direct address. direct address. So direct address here represents, we are going to represent the 12-bit code for a direct address. So let us see how it looks like. So based on the I value, we are going to determine whether it is a direct address or an indirect address. So if I value is equal to 0, then it represents a direct address. So now this 15-bit value is 0, there is a 3-bit opcode, and now so the address becomes a direct address from 0 to 11, and from 12 to 14 opcode is there. Okay. So these 12 bits are going to represent the direct address. Okay. So assume that the direct address for a particular instruction code is 0xFA2. 0xFA2. Okay. So as we are representing with 12 bits, 0x means hexadecimal representation, FA2, 4 plus 4 plus 4. So totally 12 bits. Okay. So these 12 bits are representing the direct address. So if this is the address location, then now we have the direct address mode, we have the opcode, for example, I want to perform an addition operation, and the opcode for addition operation is 010, and we have the direct address. Then what we need? We need an operand to actually perform the operation. So where this operand is residing? It is residing in the main memory. So the main memory contains instructions as well as data. So in the data part, in a particular location named with 0xFA2, an operand is there. So that operand, for example, assume that operand is 255. Now I am going to fetch this particular operand and perform the operation. What is that operation? AND operation, and perform this operation with this particular data. However, now you have a doubt. What is the doubt is, to perform the particular operation, AND operation, we need two operands. However, now we are fetching only one single operation. Then how we are going to perform the addition operation? Okay. So for this reason, we need to assume that one more operand will be stored in a special register known as the accumulator register. Okay. So in short, it is represented as AC, accumulator register. So now assume that the accumulator register is consisting of the value 345. Okay. Now what we are going to do is, we are going to perform the addition operation with the value fetched from 0xFA2, that is 255, and the value in the accumulator, that is 345. So we are going to add these two. So 5, 5, 10, 10, 6. So the result is 600, and the result is stored back in accumulator. Okay. So after storing in accumulator, we may transfer this particular result to once again to a particular memory location. Okay. For example, 0xFC9. So I am going to store this 600 here. So like this, actually the operation is performed. Okay. So what are the points to be noted? The points to be noted is, so we must know the instruction format. So in this particular example, the total bits in instruction format are 16 bits. And point number 2, we must bifurcate the instruction format into 3 different parts. What are they? address from 0 to 11, operation code from 12 to 14, and indirect address mode I. So if I is equal to 0, then it is going to represent the direct address. Direct address means we are going to fetch the data from the main memory, and accordingly we are going to perform the operation. Okay. So now assume that I value is 1. So whenever the I value, indirect mode value is 1, then it is going to represent indirect mode, indirect address mode. Okay. So case 3 is indirect address mode. So if it is indirect address mode, then how it looks like, let us see. So in case of indirect address mode, the I value is 1, and there will be as usual opcode, and 0 to 11 bits are going to represent indirect address. Okay. So from 12 to 14 opcode, and I value is 1. So now what is meant by this indirect address then, and using indirect address, how we are going to fetch the instruction? So that is very, very important. Okay. So if it is direct address location, then we are going to fetch the data directly from the operand directly from the address location. Okay. However, now it is not direct, it is not a direct address, however it is an indirect address. So then how we are going to fetch the data? Okay. So let us see how we are going to fetch the data. So as far as the indirect addressing mode is concerned, so assume the indirect address now is 0xFA2, 0xFA2. So this particular 0xFA2 will contain, instead of operand, it is going to contain one more address location. For example, 0xFC9. And now we are going to fetch the data from 0xF39, which may contain the data 255. Okay. So what does it mean? Previously we have a memory location, and that particular memory location has contained the operand. However, now, so whatever the address location that is given in indirect address, given as indirect address, will contain one more address, and in this address the data will be stored. Okay. So then we call it as indirect address mode. Okay. So based on the I value, it is going to determine whether it is a direct address or it is a indirect address, and accordingly it is going to fetch the data or operand. Okay. So what is our ultimate aim? Our ultimate aim is to fetch the data or instruction. Okay. So now, so whatever this particular instruction code or instruction, so it will also be actually fetched from the main memory. Okay. So for example, here the particular instruction might be stored. Okay. If you want to store this particular instruction, then how we are going to store? So 0, what is the operation code? Add, and what is the memory location? 0xFA2. Okay, like this the instruction will also be stored inside of the main memory. Okay, now what is our conclusion? Both the instructions as well as the data, both will be stored in main memory. So initially what we are going to fetch? We are going to fetch the instruction, and that instruction we are going to move to a specific register. So based on the content of the instruction, we are going to fetch the data from the main memory. After fetching the data, we are going to perform the operation specified by opcode. For example, assume that instead of addition operation, we are going to perform the increment operation. The increment operation is represented by 0, 1, 1. Assume like that, 0, 1, 1. So then whether we need any second operand, we don't need any second operand. So whatever the value we are going to fetch from 0xFA2, so that value will be incremented by 1. For example, if I fetched 255, after performing the operation it will become 256. Okay, there is no requirement of additional operand. At that particular time, actually we are not going to use the accumulator. Accumulator we can consider as an intermediate register, so which will be useful for performing the operations whenever we need two operands. Okay, so initially we are going to fetch the first operand and store in accumulator, and then we are going to fetch the second operation, so perform the operation with the second operand and the content of the accumulator. So this is actually done in case of the operation code or instruction format. Okay, so now let us see diagrammatically how the operation is performed in case of the direct address, in case of the indirect address. So in case of the direct address, how the operation performed. If it is direct address, initially assume this is the main memory. So initially at a particular location there will be instruction, assume at 0xA24 at this location instruction is there. Because this is direct address, the I value will be 0 and the operation code is add, and here we are going to have direct address 0xFA9, something like this. This is instruction, and at a particular location 0xFA9 we have the operand, for example 255, and this operand is fetched. However, to perform the addition operation we require one more operand, so that particular operand will be actually stored in a temporary register accumulator. For example, assume the value 345 is there in accumulator. Now we are going to perform the addition operation for the value with the operand and for the value with the accumulator. We are going to perform the addition operation and store the result once again in accumulator. The 600 value will be stored in accumulator. So this is how a using direct address we are going to perform the operation using an instruction format. Okay, so if it is an indirect address mode, how the same operation looks like. So if you assume this is the main memory, so now the instruction format will look like the indirect, because this is indirect mode, I value will be 1 and the operation is add operation. So and the indirect address, assume the indirect address as 0xCA2. So this instruction format is stored in 0xA52, and now it is going to fetch 0xCA2. However, in this 0xCA2, instead of the operand, it contains the address of another operand such as 0xFA9. Now it is going to fetch for the operand at 0xFA9. So inside of this 0xFA9, the operand is going to reside. The operand is 255. Now this operand must be added to the accumulator register. So we are going to add the value of operand to the accumulator register. So accumulator register already contains a value, for example 345, and this will be added to accumulator register, and the result will be stored once again in accumulator register. Okay, so like this the operation is carried out if it is an indirect address mode. So now we have seen two different address modes. So in case of the direct address mode, how it looks like, in case of the indirect address mode, how it looks like. So however, if it is an immediate mode, so then the data itself will be stored instead of the address location. The data itself will be stored in the address location, and this sorry, it is 255, and this 255 will be directly stored inside in place of the address, and this 255 will be directly added to the accumulator register, and the result will be stored in the accumulator register in case of the immediate mode. Okay, now in case of the direct address, what is the effective address? So the effective address is 0xFA9. Effective address is going to represent the operand. Okay, so wherever the operand is there, then it is called as effective address. Okay, 0xFA9 is the effective address. So in case of indirect address mode also, even though 0xCA2, this address is actually given in the instruction code, so the effective address will be here also 0xFA9, because it actually contains the operand value. Okay, now how can we define the effective address? The effective address can be defined as the address location where the operand resides, Okay, so like this we can actually define an address location. So here you need to remember that even though I have given here the opcode as add, actually we should not give like add, because all the operation codes will be in binary coded format. Okay, so you need to remember that all the operations will be in binary coded format. That is the entire instruction code. So will contain all the binary codes. Okay, there will not be any codes at all. All the binary codes. It contains all the binary codes. Okay. Now once again let us conclude what we learned in today's lesson. So what we learned is, so point number 1, the main memory will contain not only data, it also contains instructions. So what are these instructions? These instructions are nothing but the program instructions. So what is the basic purpose of the computer system? To execute a program. The program will be divided into number of instructions. However, the high level programming language instructions are once again divided into low level instructions as instruction formats, based on the instruction format, so which will be in binary mode and understood by the computer. Okay, so as we have discussed previously, the instruction format contained totally 16 bits, but there is no fixed rule that always the instruction format should contain 16 bits. So that is wrong. Okay, so in this example, whatever the example we have seen, we have taken 16 bits and bifurcated these 16 bits as 12 bits for address, 3 bits for operation code, and 1 bit for direct or indirect address mode. Whereas so you may contain sometimes 32 bits also. That is based on the computer architecture. So if the instruction format contains 32 bits, then these 32 bits shall be bifurcated into address, operation code, as well as so indirect address mode, I bit. Okay. So for example, among these 32 bits, 20 bits may be given for address, another 11 bits may be given for operation code, and 1 bit may be given for the I bit. So if this is the case, then because 11 bits are given for the opcode, how many operations are possible? We can define around 2 power 11 operations, 2 power 11 operations. Such a huge number of operations we can define. So if I assume that if there are no that much of operations are not available, then what we are going to do? We are going to reduce the bits for operation code. For example, we can make this as 5 bits and we make this address as 26 bits. Okay. So like that we are going to change accordingly. So then there will be 2 power 5 operation codes. So what is conclusion is always remember that the instruction format, the number of bits that are given for a particular instruction format is not fixed. So it may be 16 bits, it may be 32 bits, it may be even 64 bits also. So according to the implementation of the computer system. So that is about the clear explanation about the instruction format, instruction codes. So what is meant by operation code? So what is meant by what is the necessity of accumulator register? So what is meant by immediate operand? What is meant by direct address? What is meant by indirect address? What is meant by effective address? And how we are going to implement so the actual operation code. So that's all for now for today's class. We'll continue in the next class.